The Chicago Bears just got a trio of good news, and now there's actually some reasons to be excited about this game against the Patriots. Believe it or not, we're looking at having this defense almost fully intact, and that's with the most important piece of the puzzle being defensive end Montez Sweat. I'm going to go to this injury report on BearsWire.com. And Montez Sweat, he was sorely missed last week with a shin injury. The defense really had zero punch, especially against the run. And this also couldn't come at a better time because now we have nose tackle Billings out for the season. Man, him no longer being on our line is definitely going to be felt, and we really needed Montez Sweat to be back. And we're looking at some guys that might be filling in. This is finally the time that Zach Pickens has to pull his weight. He's going to be the primary guy to take over for Billings. So now Sweat is fully off the injury report and good to go. That's one. I promised a trio, so let's keep going. Kyler Gordon, he's been sorely missed as well. The hamstring injury that's kept him out all this time, it's no longer an issue. And also corner Terrell Smith, he's ready to join the team as the ankle injury he sustained against Arizona. It is absolutely all good. And this is just really good news. And I spoke previously last week about the importance of Terrell Smith. He had a really nice pass breakup last week when the game was well within reach against Arizona. And with Jalen Jones going on IR and Brisker still out, just having Terrell Smith available at corner for spot duty, that allows guys like Jonathan Owens to be used with even more versatility. He doesn't have to fill primarily a corner spot or primarily a safety spot. He can just kind of roam. And also recently elevated Tarvarius Moore. He can team up with Elijah Hicks in helping bolster the safety position as well. And this secondary is back intact, pretty much. I mean, minus Brisker, but now we've got Stevenson. He's got a starting spot back, and that's opposite our very own Jalen Johnson, number one. And I just can't emphasize enough how much Terrell Smith being available, it just fills out this positional group with quality depth, right? So now the defense, I think they can go back to being the dominant unit we all know and love. This game against the Pats, it's as much of a must-win game than any midseason tilt can possibly be. And this goes for not only the players in the second half of the schedule, but also for the coaching staff, just not to save their jobs, but to just get a nice game under their belts and stop the turmoil. On top of this trio, I want to offer a bonus piece of good news, and that's regarding two offensive linemen. We've got offensive guard Ryan Bates. He's coming off injured reserve. I think he's going to be available for this game. All signs are pointing towards that. And also, guard Tevin Jenkins. It looks like he's fully healthy now. He's ready to roll too. And these two guys being ready is it's just so crucial. Both left tackles and right tackle, both of these positions, unfortunately, they're going to be out. So we're looking at Darnell Wright and Braxton Jones. They've been listed as out for Sunday's game at Soldier Field on Friday's injury report. Both of these dudes have knee injuries. Jones was trending in a positive direction, though. He practiced Thursday on a limited basis, and that's after missing Wednesday's practice, while Wright has been out all week after suffering his injury against the Cardinals, and that's when he left last week's loss. So that was a huge loss. Jones also missed last week's game, too. I'm sure you remember that. But the fact that he was trending in a good direction, that might be indicative that he'll be ready to face Green Bay. And that's encouragement. That's encouragement that we all need. And here we are. We've got to make do for this week's game. I mean, without them, we're looking at Larry Borum and possibly Jake Curran. Those guys starting at the tackle positions for sure. Absolutely no choice. And we can tell from last week, those are not good choices. So Bates and Jenkins, both of these guys being available, Jenkins able to play at full strength. That really gives us some options at least. So the Bears now, they have the option of using Matt Pryor at one of the tackle spots. That's more ideal because guard Ryan Bates, he's gone through a full week of practice. He's coming off of IR. This is just a big time better situation, although not perfect. But if Bates plays, all indications are at the time of this filming that he will, They can move Pryor from right guard to right tackle or left tackle. They won't have the need to use Curran in a premier position. Borum can then fill a guard spot. Not sure what the configuration is going to end up on, but now there are definitely options. And last week's line, absolutely not it. So we're looking at New England too. They have a very unimpressive pass rush. So if this defense can dominate, I think they have the ability to in this game. We can get by on smoke and mirrors against New England. We're back home, so that's a very good thing. We almost always win at home lately. We can run lots of 12 personnel or even bring in a third tight end for blocking. And here's an idea. Take advantage of the running backs that we have. Feature Cole Kmet as a receiving threat. That should be very obvious. Get back to what was successful during this 3-game winning streak that we had previously. Just run some quick developing plays, right? Put in place some high percentage throws to get our rookie quarterback Caleb Williams playing with confidence, and then take the longer shots and when they become obvious. Control the clock. We don't want the same offense that we had against Arizona. He's just kind of drifting around back behind the line. It's kind of looking aimless, and then all of a sudden throws a long pass down the field. And it's not really playing towards Caleb's strengths right now anyways, because frankly, he's been really inaccurate with the long ball. So it is what it is. We got to play to his strengths. Hopefully our offensive coordinator notices that. And let's do whatever we can with smoke and mirrors, get out of here with a win. And then we can let the chips fall where they may. So to close, also out for the game, our tackle Karan Amagaje. He's still dealing with a calf injury. Safety Jaquan Brisker, as we know, he is still concussed, and it's really concerning because he hasn't even resumed football activity yet. And this is I think it's his 4th recorded concussion since he's been with us. Just not a good situation. We might be looking at this as really shortening his career. We might, as a team, have to start looking towards the draft in this upcoming year to maybe shore up the safety position, because I don't know. Jaquan Brisker is not guaranteed to come back, and he's got to think about quality of life outside of football. I'm sure he has a family who loves him. So be praying for him. As we look for the additional injury news, we've got defensive end Darrell Taylor. He's with a knee. Linebacker Noah Sewell with a knee. Both of these guys are questionable. I mean, Sewell was listed in Friday's practice as limited, but in Taylor's case, the questionable designation, it might be a little less positive because we've seen some regression. He didn't practice at all Friday after going through limited practice on Wednesday and Thursday. So that's kind of the most of the news as far as injuries. I wanted to share some good news for once, but we've got guys like Martin, we've got Booker, we've got plenty of guys that can help bolster this defensive line. We've also even got DeMarcus. He can bounce into the inside at nose. Might be interesting if that is something that the coaching staff wanted to do. I know they did it quite frequently throughout camp and somewhat in the preseason. So we've got a lot of options to try to fill the big shoes of Andrew Billings. We're not going to be able to fill them completely, but man, we've got a lot of really good rotational pieces. I think ideally who will get the start is Chris Williams. He's had a couple sacks. Ryan Poles made a really good move by getting him on the team using a 6th-round pick in a trade with Cleveland in the offseason. He's just been a really good piece, and I think we can put this together, have a dominant defense, and it really helps your defensive line when your secondary is mostly intact. And super optimistic for this game. I'm actually excited to watch it. If we can win this game against New England, we're sitting there at 5-4, above 500. You can eke out little wins perhaps against Seattle. Even San Francisco has been a little bit vulnerable. This team last year, we have better personnel than we did last year. This is actually a better team if things fire on all cylinders. Last year's team beat Detroit 7 quarters out of 8. It should have been 2 wins. Anything can happen. We roll into this second half at 5-4, perhaps get some momentum. I don't really care if it's the playoffs or not. I would love to see that, but it's Also possible that making the playoffs could be the only thing that will save our head coach's job. And you can say what you will if you want him to be fired, if you want his job to be saved. But man, we got to get off of this habit of, like, for example, and I'm not the only one talking about this. You've got Mitch Trubisky. He starts out with John Fox, fired after the first year. Then Nagy comes on. We get Justin Fields. Nagy's fired after the first year. Now we have Coach Eberflus coming in, and we just can't keep this constant rotation of coaches changing. Because if you look back, and I'm going to cite this story on a future show, you can look back on top quarterbacks taken. I mean, like in the top 5 picks, and their success rate when a coaching change is made after their rookie year. And it is absolutely brutal. Like, a good result seldom happens. Just kind of some food for thought. We got to be really careful with calling for the heads of these coaches, because in the end, continuity might be what is not only desired, but what is best for the team. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't really have a stance right now. I'm waiting for things to kind of play out. But one thing that I don't want to do is to have this reactionary, what have you done for me lately, week after week after week, and then just kind of ride the waves constantly. Not only is it exhausting, not only is it really hard to enjoy sports when you constantly have this like combative view of your team, I also want to leave room for this coaching staff to continue to grow as well. So we'll see what happens, man. You guys let me know in the comments, as you always do. Bear down, and I appreciate you. Like and subscribe, friends. See ya.